if I'm a coach, how do I understand player development, player progression? And then I'll follow up with how do we think about how we provide feedback to players as they are progressing?
Everybody talks about player development now, for the professionals, obviously, but at grassroots and organizations, they say it's not about winning, it's about development. What is development? I think it's you can understand performance, you can understand where we are in the league, how we did. You kind of have a general idea. We didn't defend very well, or we missed 3 chances. But when it really comes down, particularly the individual level, what does player development look like? Most grassroots coaches have no idea what that means. But if you go back to with individual players, let's say the younger group, the individual player is the one that we focus on within the team. How do they develop? In order to do that, you need to be able to visualize what development is. So what we've done a lot of research on is, particularly in the core skills, when younger players developing, what does that look like? So from a young player starting out, let's say in a skill, first touch, receiving the ball, first touch, what does that look like for a player just starting out, or a 6 or 7 year old, which might be just kick the ball. There's nothing to start with. And that's fine. And that's great. They're in the game. They're having fun. That's brilliant. What's the next step? The next step is they actually learn how to receive the ball and not just kick it away and keep it. And then the next step might be, instead of just keeping ball, they move with the ball. You can develop kind of a skill ladder that says, this is how a young player develops in first touch, in passing, in attack, in defense. So there's kind of a development pathway in a simple way that coaches can visualize. You show them, because once they have that, they can go and look at their players. They can observe their players. If you don't know what development looks like, you can't observe. What are you observing? So I think that's what we've tried to do, is look more into educating coaches that there's development means this.
Well, this idea of a skill ladder is interesting because it gives a coach a framework for thinking about player development. And Temison, how do clubs look at this kind of player progression?
So firstly, it's great what Mike said already, and I don't think I can add much more to that, because he really has shaped it very nicely. When I took coaches in September to Arsenal, we were talking with the pre-academy, and they said these are the basic principles that we want the players to understand at under 7, under 8s. Do you show for the ball? Do you stay on the ball? Do you share the ball? And then also shooting. Those are the 4 things. So all the pre-academy coaches knew that, right, is this player who I'm looking at, do they really just enjoy shooting? Is that what their key thing is, or does this player just really like to stay on the ball? So those were the things that they were trying to observe. We were trying to help players go from being unconsciously incompetent to being unconsciously competent. So it starts getting very, very technical. After day one,
I like that.
I had to sit down and say, right, you need to explain this to me. So basically, where it comes to a point whereby they are taking competent actions consistently without even having to think about it.